Yes. Rest in peace, brother T. Angelis. Um, yeah. Good morning, noon, or maybe even night. Welcome back to another episode of KimYaps, the last one of the day, which I believe this will make this episode 5. Yeah, but look, last episode we talked about the men, the evil light skinned men, the demonic dreadheads, and I had some Illuminati, you feel me? Pretty boy Fado all up in my DMs talking about what? Sending 5-minute voice message notes. Sounding like they were crying in the driver's seat of a Honda Civic, trying to defend their honor with MLA formatted thesis statements. And I told y'all, told the men accountable, and y'all did not disappoint. But ladies, you thought you were safe? Did you really sit there sipping your matcha thinking I was just going to roast the men for an hour and pretend like y'all aren't out here operating like covert emotional terrorists? Absolutely not. See, here at KimYaps, we are equal opportunity offenders. We are like Batman. Anybody could get these hands. The mirror in the studio faces all directions, and we hold everyone accountable. So today, fellas, turn up the volume all the way up. If your shorty is annoying you, boom, play this on the speakers. Make her hear this. I want you to roll the windows up. Shoot, actually, roll the windows down. I want the whole neighborhood to hear it. Ladies, put your seatbelt gel back in the fridge. Take down your 5 layers of foundation. Blow out the Palo Santo. Pause your co-star astrology app and listen to me. Today we are going to talk about the female variants. We are yapping about the earthly neo-soul sirens, the evil lightskins with an alistair, and the weaponization of astrology and the absolute unmitigated delusion of what the internet is calling the divine feminine. No shade. So let's get into it. So let's start with arguably the most psychologically dangerous, not only physically bending, but mind bending woman on the modern dating market, the earthy dreadhead. No shade. I have encountered one in the wild. I will say, all love to her. It's a lot. It's a lot, but I'm not speaking from my perspective. I'm speaking from what I have heard, what I have seen. The Erica Badu, Lauryn Hill phenotype. Let me cleanse your aura before we speak variant. Fellas, you know exactly who I'm talking about. Let's look at her starter pack. You met her at an open mic poetry slam, a vegan food festival, or hovering around the crystals at a local metaphysical shop. She's wearing a meticulously tied head wrap, wide leg linen pants that drag on the floor, or maybe even a skirt. Heavyweight speeds and 14 different crystal necklaces clanking together like wind chimes when she walks. Her apartment has absolutely zero ventilation, but she is constantly burning sage. She smells intensely of patchouli, raw cocoa butter, and spiritual superiority. She calls you beloved, God, King, or divine masculine within the first 10 minutes of knowing you. And as a man, you drop your guard, you think you finally found your peace. You think, wow, I finally found a grounded spiritual woman who isn't obsessed with materialism, who doesn't care about designer birds, who wants to connect soul to soul. And I want you to listen to me carefully. Run for your actual life. This woman will absolutely destroy your central nervous system. We talk about the Baduzum effect. The terrifying phenomenon where a perfectly normal functioning man meets an earthy woman and within 3 weeks he has no more identity. He is now praying outside without a shirt and linen pants on, listening to Andre 3000's last album. Let's talk about the phases. Phase 1, you stop eating meat because she says it lowers your vibrational frequency. Phase 2, you start questioning your stable 9-to-5 job because corporate America is a capitalist matrix designed to drain your life force. Phase 3, You quit your job. You start wearing drop crotch pants, stop using aluminum deodorant, and suddenly you're trying to make a living selling alkaline water out of a trunk of a Honda Civic while she critiques your aura. She will have you staring blankly at a wall for 6 months, completely questioning your reality. And why is she so dangerous? Because she uses spirituality as a bulletproof vest to avoid all human accountability. She's wildly toxic, but she rebranded it as mystical. Let me give you a real life scenario. She will ghost you for 2 weeks. She will leave you on red while you are having an actual panic attack trying to figure out if she's alive. Then she will finally reappear, float back into your life, and instead of apologizing like a normal human being, she'll say, "Beloved, my spirit guides told me I need to retreat into my divine feminine isolation. I was doing heavy shadow work and purging generational trauma in the astral plane, so I couldn't respond to your text messages." No, Ashley, you weren't in the astral plane. You were in Miami on a rented yacht with a club promoter named DJ Swag drinking Casamigos. Stop blaming your terrible behavior on your ancestors. Your ancestors are looking down on you, embarrassed. Hell, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody was looking up. She will cheat on you, literally. And when you catch her, she'll blame the solar system. I'm a Gemini rising with a Scorpio moon. Mercury was in retrograde, and my chakras were magnetically pulled toward his kinetic energy. It was a karmic entanglement. We had a soul contract from a past life. No, Negro. You have a dismissive, avoidant attachment style and the impulse control of an untrained golden retriever. Leave the stars out of this. Now, before I get too high, let's pivot to the complete opposites. See, this is gonna make me more high because, Lord, we're gonna talk about the girl that doesn't use the crystal, that doesn't use the sages, that doesn't question your religion 30 times a day, or starts to manipulate you. She uses something much older and much more effective, pure, weaponized innocence. And see, what I'm talking about here is the evil light skin. The aesthetic princess, if you will, the soft lie ambassador. This woman has mastered what the internet accurately calls the Nala stare. If you've seen The Lion King, you know the exact look I'm talking about. That scene where Nala looks at Simba with those big, seductive, innocent, "Can you feel the love to my eyes?" Her head is tilted down, slightly looking up through her lashes. Her edges are swooped in the perfection. Her lip gloss is popping. She posts daily Pilates selfies, ice mantras, and Bible verses on her Instagram story. The classic bio, God's daughter. She looks like an absolute angel sent straight from the heavens to bring soft peace to your chaotic life. Fellas, this is another trap. This is a coordinated ambush. She sits across from you, looking at you with her little stare while you paying for her 250 Wagyu steak dinner, acting so sweet, so soft, or pure. She speaks in a quiet, breathy voice, but behind those beautiful hazel eyes is the hidden roster of an NFL offensive line. She plays the good girl role so flawlessly that you completely lower your defenses. You think she's wife material. You think she's sitting at home on a Friday night in her pajamas, eating ice cream and watching Adam Sandler books. But the reality, that is the woman who will get ran through by the entire starting lineup of a Division One football team, basketball team, wipe her mouth, Uber over to your house, look you dead in the eyes, and kiss you with the exact same mouth. It's diabolical. And the absolute worst part of this variant is the gaslighting because she looks so innocent. She has mastered the angelic aesthetic. You feel like a monster forever doubting her. She uses her pretty privilege as a weapon of mass confusion. Let's say your intuition goes off. You catch a text popping on her phone at 11:30 p.m. from a guy. Say it as Marcus. Do not answer. You ask her about it calmly. What does she do? She doesn't yell. She doesn't fight. She weaponizes her tears. She will look at you with the bottom of her lip quivering, tears up in her eyes, and she will say in a tiny broken voice, "Wow, you really don't trust me? After everything I've been through, my past trauma makes it so hard for me to open up and trust men. I finally thought you were different, but you were just trying to control me like my toxic ex." Before you even know what hit you, you're apologizing to her because she was sexing another dude at midnight? You're buying her flowers. The next day, to make up for your insecurities, she completely reverse engineers the argument. She uses her aesthetic to make you question your own sanity. We laugh at the incense. We make viral TikToks about the stare, but let's talk about it. Let's strip it away. Let's talk about what's really happening underneath the aesthetics. Why do women operate this way? What is actually broken inside of them? Let's talk about Earthy Girl first. So, if I had to name what she does, I would call it spiritual bypass. Spiritual bypass is a when a person uses spiritual ideas, metaphysical concepts, and new age practices to sidestep personal, emotion, or physical trauma or psychological trauma. It's the defense mechanism for a fragile ego. The truth is, the neo soul siren is actually terrified of real intimacy that requires you to be human. It requires you to look at your ugly, messy, selfish flaws, and it requires you to look at your partner in the eye, strip away the ego, and say, I messed up. I was selfish. I hurt you. And I'm sorry. But if you convince yourself, if you delulu your brain into believing that you are operating on a higher vibrational frequency than everyone else, you don't have to apologize. I mean, if you want an example of this, listen to Next Lifetime, but actually listen to the song, listen to the intro. She talking about, oh, I got a man who took this of you. I see you in the next lifetime. She plotted. She already got in mind, and she talking about Lex and Lifetime. She really talking about next week. Your time isn't guaranteed, brother. And look, let's get to the light skin, bro, because you know that's the real evil. I feel like her behavior, or rather the archetype or phenotype that we're talking about, is driven by societal conditioning known as the halo effect. The cognitive bias where human beings automatically assume that because someone is physically beautiful, they must also be morally good, kind, and innocent. She has had the halo effect since she was 12 years old, and she exploits it. But deep down, she suffers from validation addiction. She doesn't actually want the entire football team. She doesn't even like half the guys on her roster. She wants what the roster gives her: proof that she is desirable. She has a black hole in her chest that she is terrified if she doesn't have five men fighting for her attention, sending her money and gassing her up. She doesn't actually exist. She has no identity outside of being one. She uses this aesthetic as a shield, and as long as she looks like an angel, she never has to take accountability for moving like a demon. She kisses you with her hot mouth, not because she loves you, not because she values your connection, but because she needs you to validate the performance. When her phone goes quiet, she's left alone with a version of herself she absolutely hates. And what is the collateral damage of the psychological warfare? Warfare, hell, spiritual warfare. It breaks good men. It shatters them. It shattered me. We talk endlessly on podcasts and on social media about women getting their hearts broken by toxic guys. We have a million support groups for it, but we rarely, if ever, talk about what happens when a good, loyal man gets them gets dismantled by one of these women. When a man gives his heart, gives his resources, his vulnerability to a woman who uses spirituality to gaslight him, for a man that works 60 hours to provide for this woman, only to find out that they were living a completely double life behind his back. And it doesn't just hurt his feelings, it shatters his entire framework of reality. I mean, y'all love Jenny Sicko on the internet. You remember who he really was, right? The shark was born out of the evil light skin. So, listen, like in that reality, you don't just lose the girl. He loses the ability to trust the world. He becomes paranoid. And this is true tragedy, because this is exactly how villains are made. So here's what they do. He builds a massive fortress And we talked about it, episode 1. He turns cold, goes to the gym, gets a fade, hardens his heart, and decided he'd never be played again. He starts treating the next good, genuine woman who comes along in his life like an enemy because the last woman who looked like an angel was actually a predator. The guys we roasted in episode 4, the Toxic City Boys, the manipulative players, where do you think they came from? I guarantee you, most of them were born in the ashes of a good man who got destroyed by the women we are talking about today. And it's a vicious cycle. It's an endless ecosystem of toxicity, passing trauma back and forth. And usually I'd be like, no, it can't be the women. It is the men's fault. But no. When it comes to this, y'all make the villains in the story. The nerd that couldn't get no play, that y'all bullied and called Urkel, turned into super N-word. Now everybody wants him. Now he playing on every doorstep, breaking everybody's heart. You wondering, how did he end up like this? Right? It's crazy. It really is just an ecosystem of toxicity, passing trauma back and forth. But we have to break the cycle. No, we do, y'all. Come on, y'all. And to do that, we have to rescue the concept of the divine feminine from the absolute fraud that is the internet. True feminine energy is arguably the most powerful, grounding, healing force on this planet. It is the energy that nurtures, that brings order to a man's chaos, that heals generational wounds, and that transforms an empty house into a sanctuary. True femininity is deep. It is fiercely intuitive. It is incredibly strong. And above all else, it is relentlessly loyal. So true feminine power doesn't need to hide behind a crystal or an astrology chart or a head wrap because her character speaks for itself in her actions. The things she wears doesn't become her identity. Her identity is just truly her identity. Her aesthetic is just part of her character. Because true feminine power doesn't need to manipulate a man with an innocent stare while juggling a secret roster because a real woman knows her worth isn't determined by how many peasants want to sleep with her or have slept with her. And to the women listening who have fallen into playing these archetypes, drop the act. Take off the armor of the aesthetic. You don't have to be mystical, untouchable guru, and you don't have to be an innocent princess. You just have to be human. Be messy. Be accountable when you are wrong. Be fiercely loyal. Be real, because that is where true love actually lives. And you have to start living and stop performing. And to the men, wake up. Shake off the spell. Stop letting a soft face, pretty aesthetic blind you to the complete lack of character in her actions. If she's toxic, I don't care how sweet her voice is. I don't care how aligned she is or claims to be. Look at what she does, not what she says. Pack your bags, take your dignity, and protect your peace. And this is the episode I want to drop you off with. Because I need y'all to understand that love is an ecosystem. And it's not an ecosystem that has been proven. There are some things that remain true in this world, but there are some things that are truly unknown because everything is different. Everyone is unique, and in a world full of people that are trying to be someone else, be yourself. Love yourself. Jesus says the greatest law is to love your neighbor as you love yourself. But the first part of that is to love yourself. Learn you, understand you, know why you do the things that you do, uncover the traumatic episodes from your parents, understand why you attract these certain types of men, or men why you attract these certain types of women. Be okay with failure. Be okay with yourself being the red flag. Be okay with uncovering your past. Be okay with ripping off the bandages. Be okay with being. Be real. Stop letting social media dictate who you are as a person. Build your own rules, build your own standards. Be your own person. And stop being a mirror of somebody else. But that's it. And as always, Jesus loves you. And I love you. Just a little bit less. It's been KimYaps. And I am out.